Okay, so it is Halloween month, and here it is, October, Friday the 15th. You know, it worked better last year when Friday the 13th actually happened. And as you might have recognized, last year I already reviewed all of them. I tried to, it was rushed and it came out pretty bad. And there really hasn't been a new one, except for the remake. But there is, however, a documentary called His Name is Jason. And I'll be honest, these horror documentaries, there's something about them, you know, how you get people who are so intimately attuned to what goes on in some of these movies, and then they go through the process of, you have like Tom Savini discussing bits and pieces here and there. Ari Lehman, who has done nothing beyond be the Jason in the first movie, hence the reason why his band is called First Jason. But you get to hear from, like, the directors and the writers and, fans, and it's kind of like, what we tried to do in most of these movies is you need to have a certain amount of violence, a certain number of nude scenes. And people discuss and they're like, yeah, you know what? We should have enough nude scenes. Or they'll be like, hey, we had this one woman, she could do a nude scene. And it's really interesting here because you think about these movies and people who still reminisce about them like 20 years ago. It's like it was yesterday. And it's great, it's interesting, if you actually truly are a fan of most of these horror movies, there's a great emphasis on the slasher genre by itself. It's a fun watch, it's good, it's entertaining. The one on Hammer Films is also very entertaining. This one on Jason, I like the way it was done. You've got bits and pieces on, well, we did these shots and these shots. Here's what I thought we did this one, then we took them into space. Made some mistakes here and there. Talking to some of the survivors. Here's what we originally wanted to do here. Originally Feldman was going to become like another Jason, but decided not to go with it because he'd be stupid. Here's where Feldman, killed Jason Voorhees. And it's really interesting because you can watch these things. And if you're not a huge fan of the stories, but you kind of like them, you get to hear from people who really do enjoy them. And it's great. It's a very interesting way to hear some of these things. And if you're a fan of these movies, it's even better. This is like having like the director and screenwriter go through like bits and pieces here and there. Like, yeah, we filmed, initially wanted this for the house, and then we realized we couldn't film in there, so we filmed outside from here. They had to build sound stages to do this. And if you notice here and here's some editing mistakes and editing flaws. So the fact that some people get so hardcore and like pick apart scene by scene all these little mistakes, then you hear a director and editor go, yeah, we know they're there. Yeah, we did the best we could. And you get to hear, I still look my favorite stories by far have to be from the first Friday the 13th. When they cut off, Mrs. Voorhees' head. If you look and you see like hairy hands come up. Because the person who was wearing the prosthetic was a dude that tried to shave his hands. So the whole thing seemed like, a woman with like, really no hair on her hands. And all of a sudden at the very end, the person reaching up where the head is has, like hairy knuckles. It's little tidbits like that make these sort of documentaries really interesting and really fun. So if you like Jason, and if you like documentaries, and horror documentaries, His Name is Jason is a very interesting and very worthwhile documentary on probably, depending on who you talk to, the first or second most iconic slasher.